2146. That's your SMS line at Metropole TVKE across all your social media platforms. My name is Simba Elijah Charles King. Thank you very much for joining us on to our economic review. Now, the Registrar of Companies data shows that the business names registered between April and November jumped by 58.5% to 65,782 when compared to 41,490 posted in a similar period last year, which makes it the biggest jump in recent history. Now, the period is in heavy contrast, to business name registrations, which have been rising by single digits in recent years, including 3.1% in 2019 and 8.9% in 2018. Now, the listings are seen as heavily contributed to by Kenyans seeking to start smaller businesses, with the majority setting shops for supplying the national government, counties and state corporations with goods and services. Now, the data translates to 270 new company registrations a day during the 8 months when the economy was grappling with the COVID-19 pandemic, meaning that the Kenyans registered 87,303 new businesses between January and November, which was 30,920 business names registered higher than the similar period last year. Well, to help us this morning sort of interpret what this means, we're joined by Calvin Jodisi, is the co-founder and partnership lead African Startup Campus. Mr. Jodisi, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Elijah. I hope you can hear me clear from my end.
Yes, we can hear you. Now, Jodisi, well, this is not the first time that we're seeing this info thrown to us. For you, from where you're sitting, how do you interpret this data from the company registrar in relation to what has been generally a tough operating environment for most businesses? And I want to ask you, though, is company registration an entity or a summation of people getting into business?
So thank you very much, Elijah. And no, definitely we're expecting to see a lot of people registering companies because everybody was actually thinking of side hustle.
Yes.
Because most people actually lost their jobs, and so the trend, I think the trend definitely we are going to see, and we're still going to see more people actually registering companies because people now feel that apart from being in the formal employment, they actually need to have some kind of side hustle. And as you know, this country, for example, most people register companies because maybe they have friends in the government, they can be able to do some supply. They have friends in the county government, they can be able to do supply. Or even other people just want to start, side hustle and try to stay afloat because they're not very sure about the future of employment as per se. So you can see that, and also one thing that I actually personally witnessed is also people in the diaspora. So I have a brother, for example, who works in Dubai. He actually had to register his company because he's now planning to come back because the jobs in Dubai are not doing very well as they used to do. So you'll find that a lot of people in the diaspora are actually also thinking of starting companies back at home so that when they come back, they have a landing point on how they can actually now start moving their life forward. So definitely we're going to see most of that, and also most young people actually now thinking that than me spending months looking for a job, why don't I start a company? And so those are some of the factors that actually indicating. But again, just because people are starting companies doesn't mean that they're doing business, because we've been having a very volatile kind of environment for business this year because because of a lot of things. Right now is not even the right time to do business with the government. The government, especially in Kenya, the government the government is spending a lot in terms of borrowing, and definitely because of COVID, most of the governments have been able to has been actually strongly affected in terms of taxes. And that's why if you look at the trend right now in Kenya is that the government's really trying their best to be able to have as many avenues as possible to be able to raise tax. And you had last year we were talking about digital tax, which is actually looking at targeting over 1,000 businesses. So government is trying its best to be able to raise more money because of the tough times that we are facing right now. Most countries are still closed. it's not trade as usual. So I think those are some of the things that are actually affecting us right now. But then we're going to see a lot of this trend happening, more people registering companies,
Yes.
until we stabilize. And then after that, you'll see that it's, probably most people will still go back to their normal jobs.
Yes. Calvin, it also points out to another area that we have to speak about as well. Is it becoming easier and easier to register a business company in the country?
Yes, yeah, I mean, definitely registering a company in Kenya is actually very easy. Although we know that, according to the World Bank reports, I think 2019 report, it still shows that Kenya still lagging behind in terms of ease of doing business. If you look at
Yes.
our index, we're actually at 56, number 56 in terms of ease of doing business, and we've been overtaken with people like Rwanda, in terms of ease of doing business. Oh, I mean, Kenya it's quite easy. So right now, if you have an e-citizen, you can go to your e-citizen and actually register yourself a business, and you don't need somebody to actually help you register business. The cost has been reduced, I think, up to around 10,000 shillings for a company registration. For a business registration is way less. I think it's 1,000 shillings. So
Yes.
you find that most people will easily register business because you just need to register business. You can use that business permit to actually register, have a bank account and all that. So you'll find that most people will easily go to registering businesses because that's quite cheap and that's quite easy. And with that, they can actually get small tender, like supply, things that don't really need a lot of requirements in that particular space.
Calvin, another point that I really want to talk to you about, it's interesting that you're mentioning what the World Bank report is talking about, the ease of doing business in Canada. They just released another report and they're calling the country an SME graveyard, that we never get to see these businesses grow to any level. Talk to me about 2021. I mean, we are celebrating seeing this more and more businesses registered, but has anything changed? Talk to me about the business environment in terms of the ease of doing businesses for smaller businesses in 2021.
Yeah, I mean, 2021 is still going to be a tough year, and that's a fact. It's still a tough year because we're still figuring out how the COVID situation is going to be. We're still talking about vaccines. We're still talking about the second wave. I think it's like third wave. We're
Yes.
still talking about most countries that are in lockdown. Most of our major partner countries like the UK, which, we rely on them, especially for most of our exports when it comes to agriculture produce. So most of these countries are still actually in lockdown, and even others are actually anticipating, a second lockdown with even more strict measures. So it tells you that it's still not going to be business as usual. And what probably I would encourage maybe most of businesses in Kenya, it's look at how do we tap into our local network. And definitely right now we have a conversation around the Africa Free Trade continent agreement, which actually it's a conversation that's going on. Like, how can we do business across our own continent without actually relying on going outside? So I think those are the conversations that are going to go on. But yes, we're still going to be a little bit of struggling until we're able to figure out how we're actually going to either live with COVID-19 or maybe some sort of vaccine that actually works very well has been found, so that life would actually move back to normal. But apart from that, we're still going to be struggling. People are going to, yes, try to do business here. There's not much money in circulation because business can only thrive when there's a lot of money in circulation in the economy. So we have to really figure out that very well. And even for those people who have companies, we have to put that in application. Also, and mostly right now, tax holidays is almost gone in Kenya. The tax money is now coming back to us as well. So
Yes.
so all that's put in place, that will actually guide us on the way forward.
Lastly, therefore, Calvin, as we look at exactly what this report is indicating, you find that most of these business companies that are getting registered, or these business names that are getting registered, are sort of geared towards giving county government services. They're also giving government. So you find that most of these businesses are actually sitting around and waiting for tenders. to supply or to deliver some service. Is that the easy way out? Is that sort of like a gamble? Because we do also know that that space is quite crowded in the country.
Elijah, I mean that's very true. Most Kenyans, the reason why we actually register companies is most of the time is not because we really want to start a business. It's because I know Elijah somewhere and he works with the county government, and Elijah knows that there are some few tenders there that Elijah can give me. So I will actually register a company knowing that I can be able to get tenders. And Mark, and the same thing will also obviously with the national government as well. Most people have relatives, they have friends who actually work with the government, and they feel that, okay, if I register a company and talk to, my friend is in the procurement, I could easily get that tender. But definitely that's not the case. Right now, as just as the national government, the county governments are also really straining on their budgets because there's really no money, so you're not guaranteed that even after supplying for the county government, you might actually get your money upfront. You might actually wait even for 2-3 years, and we've seen those incidents whereby you supply county government with goods and you have to wait even 2 to 3 years to be able to get paid. So it depends with how speculative you want to be in this aspect, but I wouldn't encourage somebody to register business simply because they have friends who work with the government or something like that. But register business when you know you have a solution that you want to provide, and you know that solution can actually be able to give you some good returns.
Pretty much, Calvin. I know we're just starting 2021 and we shall be getting back on this topic as well, because I do know there's a lot that we can actually speak in this space. Thank you very much for taking your time off your busy schedule to speak to us this morning.
Thank you very much, Metropole TV.
All right, let's cross over to the next issue that we have for you this morning. And I really want us to look at Bitcoin. Now, the biggest news around that area is that, yes, we did cross over to the 40,000 mark. Now, Bitcoin's world price movements from 2020 resumed after climbing above the $40,000 mark for the first time. Now, the 40,000 price point, which represented an 11% or a 40,934 dollars. Bitcoin fell to around $3,500 again about half an hour, and since it then continued to vary. Now we're talking about Thursday last week. Now prices wavered as much as 17% on Monday, with the digital token that is now more than doubling in less than a month. Wow. Just want to take you back to the conversation that we're having about Bitcoin just before the end of 2020. We were saying that, well, the biggest price point before the close of the year was going to be around 20,000 plus. Seemingly, they have eclipsed that, and now we're talking about $40,000 mark. Wow. To help us understand what is going around this digital currency this morning, we are joined by David Gitonga. He's the managing editor, BitcoinKE.io, and also Alice Nangi, founder, Zidane Technologies, and cryptocurrency trainer and trader. Let me start with you, Alice. I mean, how do we interpret this news? I mean, 40,000, that's a big mark. And we're just starting 2021.
Quite indeed, yeah. And if we look at how we've been following the markets and exactly what happened towards the end of 2020,
yes,
all this is just institutional investors. Yeah?
Yes.
So we discussed this. Yeah, institutionals are coming in. We have big hedge funds coming in. We have mutual funds coming in. Yeah. All this happened after online platforms like PayPal, started trying to take, crypto into their space. So also uncertainty in year 2020 has led to this, yeah, people looking at other safe avenues, yeah, to hedge most of, their wealth and all that. So we have really, really huge investments that just came into this space. What is actually holding it and causing this price bump is now the amount of, money being brought in by the institutions.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's where we are at. Yeah. And they're actually holding us high because they keep on buying every dip. Yeah. Every time there's a sell-off, they jump in, yeah, with even bigger investments.
Yes.
Yeah.
But talk to me just before I let you go, Alice, on that, and bring in David. Talk to me about this price drop that we saw on Thursday as well, because it was a 394, then jumped back down by 3,500, then went back to 40 again. Talk to me about that swing. Why that swing?
It's actually very normal, and it's called a market retracement. Yeah.
Yes.
And it's very, very healthy. Of course, we have people who went into the market at around, when Bitcoin was between 10, 15,000, guys are allowed to cash out profits. Yeah.
Yes.
At the point we are at, there are people who are cashing out profits as others are coming in. So it's actually a very, very healthy market movement and a healthy retracement. Such a retracement actually, because right now when we look at it, we're at around 35,000 as we speak. Yeah.
Yes.
Such a retracement has the potential to push this market all the way to 50,000. Yeah, so it's actually a healthy cash out where people are cashing out profits. Then we have other institutional investors also coming in with the price drop. Yeah, so it depends on how you look at it. Yeah, but with every dip, there's an opportunity to buy. Yeah, and even the institutional investors know that.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's a very healthy retracement, and we actually have the potential of reaching 50,000 and 55 when we look at now how the market is trying to balance itself.
Pretty much. Let me bring in David this morning. David, but the question that is on everybody's mind, therefore, is that are we saying that now Bitcoin is mainstream? If we're talking about institutional investors being amongst the biggest drivers to the changes that we've seen over time, are we saying that finally, therefore, we can say, well, it's mainstream? It's unfortunate that I still can't get you, David. I can see you clearly, but then your audio is not coming through. Is it possible that you have not joined with your audio? Can you just try joining back again with the audio? Let me pose that question back to Alice again. Alice, well, that's the same question that I want to ask you this morning. Is Bitcoin finally mainstream? We were talking about the biggest drivers to the jump that we've seen lately being institutional investors. Can we therefore say, with a currency that controls 2/3 of the market and institutional drivers being amongst the biggest movers of it, is it finally mainstream?
Now, let's look at it this way, Simba.
Yes.
Yeah? When we look at what is happening, let's say in the US, yeah, because I think that can be a very good case example to look at now how the markets are actually opening up and accepting cryptocurrencies, yeah?
Yes.
So we have situations where banks in the US are actually allowed to hold people's assets in crypto and store them safely, yeah? These are banks we are talking about, yeah? And then in addition to that, we have chain analysis that is actually one of the strategic organizations that use analytics to follow cryptocurrency price movement. Yeah,
yes.
They released a report in December that showed that retail investments in crypto has actually dropped by 6%. Yeah, but institutional investments in crypto to the tune of $10,000 all the way to $1 million has increased by over 30%. Yeah. So, this is data that you just need to sit back, look at it yourself, and, you can be able to answer those questions. Are we going mainstream, or do you still think we're in a bubble that's just hanging loosely? I don't think so. I think we are actually going mainstream.
Which is the same question I want to ask you. Do you believe, Alice, that we still have a Bitcoin bubble, or the bubble is already burst and gone?
Oh, this is not a bubble. This is real. This is real. So for all those people who think it's a bubble, I think you really need to get educated. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. You really need to get educated, and we're actually organizing master classes and education that we can be able to transfer this knowledge to people. Like explain to them the price movement, the market. Explain to them the potential that is actually happening in this. So it's not a bubble. It's actually here to stay.
Yes. Let me just point you out to this data because Bloomberg is indicating that, if you look at active Bitcoin accounts, they're nearing their all-time high as of early as 2017. This is research, or the research was conducted by Flipside Crypto. When we're talking about active accounts nearing their all-time high, is this an indication that these guys want to sell now? And what impact is that going to have on the price movement?
Well, I wouldn't say it's an indication that people are actually wanting to sell. Yeah, what is happening in the Bitcoin space is
Yes.
people are, in fact, why the retail investment has actually gone down is because the retailers actually holding their coins in their wallets. Yeah,
Yes.
they're holding them because we can see the potential. There's an analysis that's been done that this market has the potential of hitting 150,000 by end of 2021.
Yes.
Yeah, people are holding their coins, Simba. Yeah, so even institutional investors, when they come in, they put in their investment for the long term. It's what we call hodling, yeah, with a potential, because we've already seen the potential that this market has to rise in the short term, yeah.
Yes.
So we can only project and be able to tell what is going to happen in the long term. So the reason as to why the wallets are actually increasing is because of more investment that's coming in, yeah. It's reaching its all-time high. What happened when we reached our all-time high price of 20K? We broke through and went above.
Yes.
Similarly with the wallets, we are still going to break through and yeah, go above. Yeah.
How confident are you, Alice, that 40K is going to be the reference point for 2021? Are we bound to see it come lower?
Well, lower movements are actually expected and anticipated. As I told you, it's called a market retracement, and it's very normal, yeah?
Yes.
But definitely, as we are right now, actually, our major resistance point is 42,000.
I see.
So how analysts, we are looking at it, if we break through 42,000, we are going definitely up above, yeah?
Yes.
Right now, we are still ranging, and we are in a very, very normal range, yeah? The normal range is somewhere between 28,000, all the way to 35, 36K. And if we hit and break over 42K, we are, definitely going higher.
All right, let me just ask you, because you've actually intimated that. Well, analysts are saying, 146K before the end of the year is actually a possibility. What are the indications that it's a possibility, Alice?
Very true. Yeah, it is a possibility. Looking at the institutional investment that has come in,
yes.
looking at the market dynamics,
yes.
yeah, looking at the levels of support and resistance, yeah. So
yes.
If we break through 42,000, we are definitely going higher. The next resistance level is 55,000, yeah. And we can only tell what would happen if we break the next resistance level, yeah. So for sure, there's a lot of potential to end there by the end of the year.
Pretty much. Now, this is a very basic question that I have to ask you, Alice, in 2021. Interesting that we've actually never spoken about this. Now, we're telling people that, Bitcoin is now breaking the 20,000 barrier. We're talking about the 40,000 barrier. For somebody who wants to invest right now in Kenya, Alice, let's tell them where to begin today. And should they want to start with you, how do they start to invest with you as well?
Okay, the thing is, we are very, very big and number one on education, yeah?
Yes.
We always educate people and teach them, do not get into something that you do not understand.
Yes.
Yeah? So it's definitely a new system of investment that very few people understand, yeah?
Yes.
People see this area as a specialized area, which it is, yeah? So if you get into the wrong hands, then you may end up, having a negative experience. But once you come in, the first step that we will do is take you through the education of exactly what we are getting into. The crypto space, it's a space that has over 8,000 assets. We're not just talking about Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the major one, but under it, there are so many assets with a lot of potential, yeah? We have price pumps of up to 3,000% in, a few months, yeah, depending on their use cases. So we do educate people on how the space works. And thereafter, yeah, we can be able to show you how, it works. So like for myself in my organization, what we do is we focus on AI systems and automated systems that can actually be able to give consistent daily returns, yeah?
Yes.
Protect capital, protect liquidity, and also move very, very fast with the market movements, yeah?
Yes.
So we are also organizing a masterclass, yeah? The first weekend of February, where people can actually join in, yeah, and learn about the crypto space, how to trade in the crypto space, how to safely transact, yeah. So it's also a very good learning opportunity for people to come into this space. So yes, we do offer such services. We are very big on education, and we are very, very open to everyone and anyone who wants to come into this space.
Pretty much. Talk to me about the crypto space in the country. Do you think it's growing to a level that you will say, it is rife in the country?
Yes, yeah. We do have a very, very big community when we look at it, yeah.
Yes.
A safe space that
yes.
you can be able to come in and join and learn from people who've been in this space for years, yeah. So we are there, we have quite good experience and exposure. We do still have a very small population in this system, and we would like it to grow, yeah? So we do, and the big thing that you always say is education. Education is the starting point and the first point, yeah? So we are growing. It's a space that's really, really thriving with all the, crisis and chaos that's happening around. Apparently, this is a space that has brought in a lot of safe haven for many people and many investors. That's why even institutions are coming in. So we do hope that we can bring in the masses and, make this space even bigger, because it's an opportunity for everyone. Yeah.
Pretty much. Alice, how do I get to register for the masterclass?
I can share the links, yeah? So
yes.
Through my contacts,
yes.
Yeah, we do have links of registration. So I can be able to share the links probably on email, on WhatsApp, and yeah, anyone who wants to join the masterclass can get in touch with you and get my contact, and I can be able to share the links. Yeah.
Pretty much. It's time to cash in on whatever storm is going around Bitcoin as well. Alice, thank you very much for taking your time to speak to us this morning on Metropole Television.
Thank you, Simba, for the invite. It's always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure. On that note, we take a short break. It's unfortunate that we couldn't get David in it, but we promise we shall get him back once we've solved his audio issues. We take a short break here on Business AM. Once we come back, let's talk about the financial services sector. Now, each bank, every bank in the country is saying that 2021 is not going to be a good year for them. They are forecasting drops in their fortunes. What does it mean for this industry, and how are they gearing post the 2020 pandemic year? Once we come back.